Speaking of Lonely Piggy, speaking of land ownership, Chicho, do we think this whole indigenous land giving fiasco is another po- power move to divide people? It's happening in BC, Quebec. There's word of more to pop up in Manitoba too, but weird all of a sudden. Yeah, this was in the plans. This was in the plans. So, it's a big deal. It's a big deal. It's connected to the UN agenda to take people's property rights away and supposedly give it to the indigenous population, but it's not. It's going to go on their umbrella of centralized power, centralized control, and they're going to limit your resources, limit your ability to even go into nature, let alone hunt, fish, like hike, camp, harvest, forage, forget everything, right? They basically want to take all of humanity, push them all into private cities. If you recall, over a decade ago, during a financial collapse, the economic collapse, economic scam of 2008, the great taking, pre this great taking, whatever you want to call it, right? There were some of the tech bros, some of the tech companies, and they were experimenting with private cities. There was like two, three places they had proposed to make them, but the indigenous population said, "Get the fuck off our land! Are you guys crazy?" So they kicked them out. Now they're trying to just siphon people into 15-minute cities. 15-minute cities. So they're trying to get rid of people that are living in outside of the control grid, right? We'll see where this goes. I think they're going to fail, or I hope they're going to fail, because people, anybody that still believes, and there are still a lot in Canada. I don't know what it's like anywhere else in the world, but a lot of red rats in Canada still believe centralized power, still believe governments and bureaucrats, and you know, any government authority, may they be related to health, finance, banking, rights, all that jazz. I'm not sure what the reaction is going to be. I just hope it's peaceful. I've never heard of nooses being made peacefully, but you know, there could be a time when that does happen. Maybe we're gonna live through that time. You know, I've never heard of blades being sharpened for peaceful deeds, but who knows? We may be living during that time, which would be amazing, 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 right? So it's a big deal, Only Piggy. It's a big deal. And for those that want to know, the provincial government in Canada, they just gave a chunk of a city in Canada, in a very rich part of the city, rich part of British Columbia, chunk of Richmond, to they took the property, what did they call it, title ownership of the land away from the people who bought the land, who might have been living there for decades, right? Whose parents might have been living there, and they gave it to the indigenous tribe that was in court, saying that they were fishing there, I don't know how many, 300 years ago, 500 years ago, 200 years ago, I don't know, that that was their fishing, part of their tribe's food supply and their stomping grounds and stuff. So they gave it to the indigenous population, took those rights away from the people that owned the property or thought they owned it, and that is rippling through Canada right now, because that's the first step. They're going to do this everywhere, everywhere. We'll see how it plays out. Lonely Piggy, the small town I work in BC, RCMP, as you know, covers 4 indigenous reserves. The band here are already talking about joining the movement. Yeah, yeah. So, and that's another way they're going to funnel people into these 15-minute cities, right? They're going to say, oh, all this land here is now, you guys don't own the titles, we're giving it to the indigenous tribe. Indigenous tribe, after a little period of time, or maybe instantly will say no one is allowed to live here. The government will be forced to compensate the landowners, possibly if it goes to court. Multiple scenarios, but end of the, name of the game is, the end result will be that the people who are living on these outskirts, right, they won't be allowed to live there, so they'll have to move into this technocratic, tyrannical, uh, 15-minute cities or zones where they won't be able to travel outside of this. It's very dystopian where it's going. I mean, if you just take it to the limit, that's where it ends up. I can't see it not ending up there, unless someone else has, you know, some kind of science fiction, some kind of futuristic novel, movie, TV series, music, poetry, anything that says once you centralize power and allow them to funnel people into a small location, that things end up well, right? Usually those who are raising animals, farmers and stuff like this, when you're, bringing your herd in, you're either going to be putting them, it's time to come home to go to sleep, or they're going into the slaughterhouse, right? So that's where we are. We'll see when people wake up, right? We see when people wake up.